I guess there's only one way to find out. Let's do it to it, right? Ladies and gentlemen, get your booze ready for Mr. Roger Goodell when he takes the stage, because you know what that means? Draft night is already upon us. Can you believe it's the end of April already? Group chat is blowing up, and you're about 3 notifications away from looking like an idiot, okay? You want to sound confident at the bar? Tell some girl who really doesn't care about why that was a smart move for the Browns? Well, relax. I got you. Uncle Rice got you. Here's your rapid-fire, pre-draft, top 10 breakdown to get you sounding like Mel Kiper without that weird accent. Listen to me, boys. I'll take care of you. Let's get right into it. I wish I had a good Roger Goodell impression, but it's tough for me to sound like a corny dude that just daps up players that are double his size. But with the first pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Cam Ward, for sure. Cam is apparently their franchise quarterback. He goes first overall to the Titans, not a doubt in my mind. Apparently they fielded offers for the pick. And after hearing a bunch of the bullshit thrown at him, they said, all right, you know what, we're good. We're going to make our selection. So I guess whatever they were getting thrown at, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, and they figured they'd rather ride it out with Cam. Now, unless they're playing the biggest game of cat and mouse I've ever seen in the history of the league, and they take Sanders 1 overall, which, I mean, you know, Baker, Sam Darnold, you know, bad teams will bad teams, Browns will Brown, right? But as of right now, it looks like Cam is their guy. Now, will he be the guy? Or will he just be another guy? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But Cam Ward to the Titans, lock that in. Cleveland Browns at number 2 is where the draft really gets its first taste of little chaos. Every expert apparently has Travis Hunter. I don't see it. I think Abdul Carter is the better player and the better bang for your buck, in my opinion, in Cleveland at least. By pairing Carter and Garrett together as a dominant pass rush, they're going to wreak havoc for the next 5 years. Because, oh, wait, that's right. They just gave Myles Garrett a 4-year extension. And then when Myles Garrett time is up, and let's be honest, he'll probably be ring chasing by then, you'll have the 5th-year option on Carter. The rule GMs usually tend to follow in the sense of the hierarchy of paying players is you pay your quarterback first, then you pay someone to hit the quarterback. Then you pay a wide receiver for the quarterback to throw to, and then you pay a corner to cover that wide receiver. Personally, I'd say having a borderline Hall of Famer in Myles Garrett and a can't-miss blue-chip prospect in Carter would rank pretty high up in any book. So I think Carter and Myles Garrett is a no-brainer. But let's say they do take Hunter, okay? Look, I mean, they could luck into another Denzel Ward or somehow another Joe Hayden. That's great. But Hunter's dual threat appeal is real. But do the Browns really want to juggle like double injury risk potential? Or even like maybe some diva drama because he needs to play both sides of the ball? And look, this isn't to say that the Browns couldn't use wide receiver help, because I'm pretty sure their starting wide receiver 1 is Jerry Jeudy right now, since Amari Cooper hit free agency. Hunter's not to play for me. And now, even more chaos. Let's say they do it, okay? And they take Sanders. They don't listen to Daddy Dion. They take him, okay? I don't think it's happening at all. But is there a world where Cleveland's? I mean, he immediately becomes the coolest player in Cleveland, okay? And the semi-circus that would come to town is a different circus that would not make its way to the Giants. It would be the Sanders show, but not the Sanders show in New York. Does that make sense? And hopefully you're out from underneath the Watson contract. You found yourself a QB. You don't have to add another name to the list of the jerseys with the 35 quarterbacks on it. You can just have a Sanders jersey. But I don't know. I don't think it's worth it at 2. I think Carter is for sure the play. New York Football Giants at 3. Everything that last guy just said was a bunch of bullshit. Giants need to take Travis Hunter. That's the play. And all the reasons that I just told you why Cleveland shouldn't take him is exactly the reason why the Giants should take him. Okay, let me explain. Okay. You have a solid wide receiver 1 in Neighbors, okay, who admittedly a little bit of a diva, but, man, he produces results. Hunter fits the Giants perfectly. Malik Neighbors already shines as a number 1, okay? Hunter complements him. And he's not stepping on toes. He's giving Jameis or Wilson 2 strong targets and flexibility. Wide receiver 1 diva isn't upset about losing some time in the field. Wide receiver 2 gets to fill in, building a little connection. Shit, maybe even works on his game. Works some moves from Neighbors that apply to both the cornerback side and the receiver side. And, that'll help win games because you need more help on the secondary than you need help on offense, okay? So if he's going to be a primary corner with a sprinkle-in receiver, it's a lot better when he's not the number 1 receiver and he doesn't have to play a shitload of snaps. And this isn't me saying that Carter is a bad player either. NFL Draft Night is all about fit, okay? I personally think it fits a little better with the Giants. I mean, if the Bills took Sam Darnold instead of Josh Allen and the Jets took Allen, do you think they'd have the same career? No, probably not. One, because the Jets don't know their ass from their elbow. But because the Bills were, they needed a big, strong arm. The Jets needed, I don't know, the kid out of USC. It's about fit a lot of the times. I think Carter fits much better with the Browns, and Travis Hunter in New York would be a star and would fit much better with the Giants. Oh, I hate these bastards. New England, I picked number 4. This is the key spot in the draft, in my opinion. And it'll probably affect the rest of the first round. So, obviously, they don't need a quarterback, okay? Drake Maye looks great. Big Drake Maye fan, too, by the way. I hate that he's on the Patriots, but that's time for another story for another time. So, does a team trade up if Sanders is still there and panic? And if they don't, this is where the Sanders slide begins. Because every team after kind of mostly set a quarterback a little bit. There are rumors that the Bears want a nice complimentary piece to help Caleb. And they're sitting at 10. So 4 to 10, it's not too bad. Word on the street is they mortgage some picks, move up to 4 to get Gianti. Okay? Now with a strong wide receiver comp and, little blue chip running back, that should help Caleb a lot. Just depends on how high the price is. And if it's worth New England to lose out on the O-lineman. Because if they stay put, they can either grab Will Campbell or Armand Membu, who you really can't go wrong with either one. Okay, Campbell's a left tackle at LSU. Membu is a right tackle at a Mizzou. Mizzou? One of them. But they're 1A and 1B in the O-line class. And then it's a pretty decent gap afterwards. So New England, depending on what they do, will literally shape the rest of this draft. And I'm going to go over some scenarios for the rest of that. But these pricks at 4 can really shape this whole first round. Jacksonville. at number 5. This is where I mean New England controls a lot more outcomes for the rest of the draft. Most experts use that term loosely, nobody knows, have Jacksonville linked to Janty for like a Detroit-style deep dish running back committee with ETN. But if New England does trade out with Chicago or whoever, and somebody grabs Ashton, that's pretty much going to force Jacksonville's hand to take an O-lineman. And keeping Trevor Lawrence upright needs to start to become a priority. Plus, I know some fantasy owners out there will know who I'm talking about. BTJ, Mr. Brian Thomas Jr., is a speedster and had a hell of a year last year. But he's going to need a little more time for the play to open up. So, no Janty there. They're grabbing a runner. They're grabbing an O-lineman, excuse me. That's 1 through 5 down. Number 6, the Raiders. If Janty hasn't gone by now, he doesn't make it past number 6. Geno Smith and Pete Carroll reunite behind a decent O-line. You're going to look me in the face, tell me that Pete Carroll doesn't want to make up for the Marshawn incident by running the shit out of the ball with another mean machine running back. If Janty's gone, then it's probably an O-lineman or someone to bolster that defense. Maybe Mason Graham run up the middle. But if Janty's there, he don't go any farther than pick number 6. Raiders GM already pretty much said, if he's there, we're taking him, in so many words. Number 7 in this year's draft, but number 1 in your hearts, Jets. Jets. Now, if you've been listening to the pod, you know where I stand already. I either want Campbell or Membu, preferably Membu, because he's a natural right tackle instead of trying to fit Campbell from left to right. And I'm an LSU guy, so I've watched Campbell all year, but preferably Membu. Just run some smash mouth football. But depending on New England, if they take an O-line, I think that forces Jacksonville to take an O-line. And then the Jets are stuck holding the bag. Now, it's a very sexy bag, but nonetheless a bag. And that's right. I'm talking about Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. Who, listen, he's going to be a fantastic player. And this is a copycat league. And with the emergence of Laporta and Bowers and McBride and the fact that the Jets could have had Bowers last year, so it's kind of like they're chasing a little bit. I don't know. That being said, if used correctly, he for sure would help open the middle of the field to Fields. See what I did there? And give Wilson some breathing room too. Look, he's a big, strong kid, 6'6", 260, shows great hands. Shows he can move pretty well. He opted not to run the 40 for, draft stock reasons. But, look, he's also known as a solid blocker on the line. So, again, look, it's a very sexy bag. But not the bag I'm looking for. And, God forbid, if he ends up looking like Kyle Pitts and the lineman that you could have had but missed out on, you miss on that, you set yourself back another 4 years easy. So, honorable mention to Mason Graham here, also just because Glenn is a defensive guy. And, that could play into the decision. It would bolster the run stop, which the Jets got slaughtered with last year. Quarterback running up the middle. God, they got sliced and diced. Jets need to take an O-lineman. If there is no O-lineman, I'm okay with Tyler Warren. And I hope he becomes, Travis Kelce. Shit. Go Jets. Number 8, Carolina. Oh, man, honestly, they need so much help. If there was a team that needed to trade out or wanted a team to move up with, it's them. Okay, I would move back as fast as I could and stockpile picks. Is Bryce Young even good? Do they have another receiver besides Adam Thielen, who isn't getting any younger, by the way? Not one of their defensive stats was under 25 last year. Not one. Run, pass, turnover, nothing. Nothing. I think their best one was turnovers, and it was ranked 25th. Everything else was high 30s. Just forget it. I mean, look, if you want to build at 8, okay, you can try and find another Luke Kuechly in Jalon Walker. He's probably the best true linebacker in the draft. He can play the middle. He can play the outside. He's the true captain if you're building a defense, which is what Kuechly was. You can also go, I guess, Mason Graham again if you haven't slotted him in yet or he hasn't gone yet. Probably Jalon Walker. I mean, Carolina was its best with Kuechly, and Jalon Walker is a coach's son and a middle linebacker. That's every professional coach's dream. So I would trade out personally, and I expect them to trade out. If not, Jalon Walker out of Georgia. And the hits keep coming. Number 9, New Orleans Saints. This is where things get pretty interesting. Saints are in dire need of a quarterback. Okay, Derek Carr seems to be done, and even if he's not, he's on his last go around for sure. So, if the Sanders slide happened and he hasn't gone yet, there is no possible way he makes it past the Saints. Sanders and the Saints go marching in. Tell me that doesn't have a beautiful ring to it. They have plenty other problems, but Kamara and Sanders would be electric to watch in that city, and the crowd would be behind them every time. I can also, if Sanders does go, I can also see them throwing their hat in the ring for Jackson Dart, and 1 as a reach and 2 just out of necessity. Strong conviction here that the Saints grab a QB and they make everybody else panic, and you might even see a couple other guys get reached on. So we'll pause. We'll see. But again, a lot of things need to happen. I really think Saints go quarterback at 9, whether it be Sanders if he slides or Dart. And last but not least, for our top 10 breakdown, Chicago. The Bears. I got a really good feeling they are going to make that trade up with New England. I think they're going to mortgage some picks, go into that top 5, grab Janty, and go all in on their generational rookie quarterback and trade away some stuff that probably, you hope at least, doesn't matter. That the picks that you trade away are going to be mid-20s for the next couple years. Now, if you trade them away and they're, top 10s, top 12s, you fucked up. But I really do think they make that trade and they go crazy in Chicago, and Big Cat is pumped up. Now, if they don't, this is where Mason Graham goes. The Bears' defense was putrid last year. They got trampled by the run. And the pass, for that matter. But, listen, at least with Graham, you knock one of the two out of the way. You'll be able to stop the run. Now you can figure out the pass later. Why drive when you can fly, right? But at least the roads are closed. So, again, really think Chicago moves up and grabs the kid, makes a big splash. We'll see. Would be pretty cool of them. Definitely help the Jets out from what I want, at least. But things don't always go how you want them, right? Couple quick more honorable mentions before we close this episode out. Jerry Jones making noise in the media like always, said the Cowboys are looking to make some significant moves pre-draft or even during the draft. They're sitting just outside the top 10. They're at 12, so we'll see how that goes. Atlanta is another team to watch for. The last 4 years in a row, they've taken the best, quote, offensive player available. First it was Pitts, then it was London, then Bijan, and then the surprise last year they took Penix, and Penix looks pretty good. So they 100% should be going defense this year. Pittsburgh at 21 is still pussyfooting around with Aaron Rodgers a little bit. Doing the will they, won't they, They came out and said, based upon Rodgers' status, it's not going to affect our draft plans at all. So if for whatever reason Jackson Dart is still there, he doesn't make it past 21. And I wouldn't be surprised if a team gets desperate enough and trades back into the first round for a player like Milroe or somebody that's really high up on their draft board that they know they're not going to be able to get to at round 2. That a team like, Baltimore or the Rams, because God knows the Rams don't have any picks, and they trade them away anyway, so they might as well move out of this year's first and pick up another one next year to do something. Maybe even Buffalo. I don't know. Those are all teams that are late, that could draft, trade out, and stockpile some picks. We'll see how all that goes. And that is it for this surprise episode of Rice on the Mics. That covers the top 10. Exciting night coming up for your team, whichever one it may be. Draft picks are the currency of hope. Hope that our GMs know what they're doing. Hope that our coaches can hone these players' skills. Hope that we find the next Hall of Fame player for our franchise. And sure, hope fades quickly, but it rises quickly too, especially in the NFL. This week-to-week, do-or-die, week 1 must-win games that we Monday morning quarterback. But hey, that's all you can do, right? Hope. So God bless. Carry some hope in your life. Thanks again for listening, and I hope that you all tune in Friday morning for the full recap around the sports world. We'll dig into anything crazy that happened during the draft. And hey, if you really want to get into it, call the show, man. Leave a voicemail. 732-588-6869. Tell me how you really feel about your team. Or you don't want your voice? Fine. DM me at Rice on the Radio on Instagram. Until then, folks, spread some good energy.